Hello, everyone. Welcome to our deep dive showcase. This one is focused on podcast creation and audio storytelling. I'm June Bea, CEO of Bea Group. I wanted to welcome you to our 2022 summer internship deep dive showcases. So I'm CEO of Bea Group. Bea Group has been fortunate to work with a number of communities, Downey, Glendale, and Davis. We work with high school students and they applied and submitted resumes, were interviewed to do this internship that has happened for the last 6 weeks. Today, they are doing their showcase and we have been working with industry partners. So Molly Joseph is here as their mentor and deep dive lead. So I wanted to welcome all of the interns. Thanks for those of you watching on YouTube. The interns spent the first week working with us at Bea Group to do onboarding. They got email addresses and got set up in Microsoft Office 365. And then the second week, they started working with their deep dive lead, Molly. So I wanted to bring Molly on. Hi, Molly, welcome.
Hi, thanks for coordinating everything and for allowing us to showcase our work. I'll just quickly jump into what we'll be sharing today. So everyone in this deep dive worked on audio editing, storytelling. We created podcast compilations about 5 episodes about the senses. So about sight, smell, sound. We made episodes that were basically meant to help people ground themselves in their senses. And today, in addition to doing that, people shared other stories that they cared about. We used that initial set of like the senses to help generate what's called like vox pop episodes, where different people contribute different snippets and then we put them together in a montage. And so today what people will be sharing is their favorite snippets of audio that they edited, that they created, that they liked. And they'll be sharing a story of something that they learned, something that they liked or didn't like, how they dealt with it, and then they'll be sharing a snippet of audio. And we've put them all together today in a slideshow so that it'll hopefully transition pretty seamlessly. Does anyone want to add anything before we jump in? All right, so just I'm going to share my screen and we'll be going on ahead. So here we go.
What's up, listeners and viewers? My name is Anthony, and I am so stoked to be introducing our podcast internship showcase for all of you. We've been working hard to produce the best quality product for you guys to listen to, and we hope to exhibit the wonderful things we have learned, experienced, and taken away from this internship. It was amazing for some of us to find our voices, our real, authentic voices. Now, that sounds like a cliche, but it holds a lot of truth in it. Everybody has an opinion, a story, and a thought to share. Whether it be as simple as what we eat in the morning or something as complicated as what goes on in a teenager's brain, the daily struggle of what affects us mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, etc. And now a lot of us, including myself, didn't know what to expect from a podcast storytelling internship. But I'm happy to say that after we got out of our comfort zone and started sharing our thoughts and opinions, we really started to have fun. This is what the showcase is all about. You will hear stories about our dreams, our struggles, and our fun experiences, but you will also see us. You will see us give a brief recap of what we learned and enjoyed about this internship. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's a podcast. Why are we going to be able to see you? Well, we do things differently here on our podcast showcase. Enjoy.
Personally, I didn't know what to expect from this deep dive. I didn't know what went into making a podcast. Once I started learning how to make it, I found out that it takes a lot of time to perfect and make it great because it needs to be edited to have the best sound quality and sometimes needs music and sound effects to make it even better. Also, when I began learning how to make the podcast, I realized that I enjoy editing. I liked listening to the music and sound effects the program had, deciding which one to use, and putting it in the best spot where it can make the recording sound great. I also enjoyed this because the music I chose had the power to set the tone of the piece, and it could add on to the topic with certain songs or noises to make the recording more memorable. and I liked creating an expressive piece that everyone can enjoy when they listen to it. A piece that I made was about a sound that I like. I really enjoy the sound that pops up when you open Netflix on your TV because in my mind, it's like the theme song to the world of entertainment when I hear it, and I feel relaxed and ready to immerse myself into the world of fantasy, and all my worries melt away for those mere moments.
Hi, I'm Liam Fishman, and over the course of the internship, I learned a lot about making a podcast. First off, I learned that making a podcast with other people can be enjoyable as well as working alone. I find working with other people enjoyable because I get to talk to other people, having them help me along the way with recording. I find working alone enjoyable as well because it's calm and gives me time to think to myself as well as achieve a goal. Another thing I found out is that editing a podcast snippet can be fun to do as well as simple every now and then. I thought I'd find something that I hate, but I really didn't. A rough fact of mine would be my favorite sound episode.
My favorite type of sound is definitely classic rock. Just the mix of vocals, guitar, and other instruments to create some of the happiest or saddest songs you've ever heard is very addicting. For example, my favorite band is Pink Floyd, and my favorite album from them is The Wall. The album uses sounds and instruments to tell a story of mental illness. The best example of this on the album, I feel, is The Trial, where Pink Floyd has to come to terms with his life and tear down the wall. Another amazing band that I frequently will listen to is Led Zeppelin, and my personal favorite album by them, Led Zeppelin 4. There's so much sound in the world, and I enjoy most of it. Whether it be the ambient sounds of a forest or the loud sounds of a concert, I enjoy most.
Hey everyone, my name is Karen Hernandez, and I had the amazing opportunity to be part of the podcast storytelling deep dive this summer, and I had so much fun. I learned that podcasts aren't just making a video and recording yourself and posting it online. There's so much more to a podcast than just recording and posting online. You know, like editing video, adding music to the background, editing the audio, or even having more of an expanded vocabulary for description, especially when you're storytelling. And not to mention that the different topics that can be put into a podcast or that can be made into a podcast is crazy. Like there is so much that can be talked about in a podcast, and there's so much that can be turned into a podcast. I've learned a lot with this group personally. I think I've learned like it's okay to work with other people, and other people have stuff to contribute to me, which is good because working with other people causes us everybody to contribute and everyone to add things, and it's just fun that way. I liked having to hold conversations with people and having them relate to my conversations and having them relate to my experiences, you know? And it feels good. It feels good to know other people have similar experiences or have experiences to share. I found that I really like to edit with people as well. It's really fun, and I like to be interviewed, I guess, because I had so much fun when we would ask each other questions due to our own topics. They were really fun. But I kind of also hate, or not hate, but I don't really like having a script. I kind of like to just like go with the flow and go with what comes up in my mind. And only because I feel like I have too much to say sometimes, and a lot comes to my mind, especially when I'm following a script. Like I'm like, oh, like I should have said this, or oh, I could say this. So there's a lot that I add on. So I kind of just like to freehand, like talk every time like I do that. So I just kind of like to talk as I go and like make it up as I go. My artifact or my favorite post or episode would have to have been the bread snack episode or video I made. That would have to be my favorite because a lot of people don't know, but I struggle with a relationship with food, you know, and making those episodes really helped me in a way that I didn't even know that they could. And they were also really fun to make. And it was really like weird, you know, and it set me out of my comfort zone, which I really liked because it made me search up a lot of words. It made me want to go online and search up descriptive words that I can use because I was like, I really wanted to make the audience know what I wanted to say. And I also discovered my love for talking and rambling. I realized I honestly have a lot to say, especially when it comes to a topic that I'm very passionate about. I have a lot to say, and I really think a lot of people want to hear it. And it inspired me It really did. It inspired me into thinking about making my own podcast and having my friends contribute, or anybody that I know would want to contribute to my topics and bring in their experiences and bring in their opinions. And, it inspired me to maybe think about starting that because, again, like I said, I think people might want to hear what I have to say. And I also wanted to say that I'm really glad I got to work with Molly. She's an amazing human being. And I really like how she's very considerate. Like, she's not only our leader, but she was also a friend. And, I really think you guys should subscribe to This Teenage Life. And I had a lot of fun working with these people. And I really recommend joining this deep dive. And yeah, thank you. Follow and subscribe to This Teenage. Smells that I like. Bread. The smell of a fresh loaf of sourdough bread. Just imagine you're in your house, just walking in, and you get a whiff of the oven. You open the oven. Inside is a beautiful, round, crisp loaf of bread. Fresh out the oven bread. You take it out and you go to take a slice of a piece. You go to take a slice of it with some warm butter on top. You go in to take a bite, when even before you take a bite, you can smell the warm butter melted on the top of the fresh, crisp bread. It's salty, it's semi-sweet, it's crackly because of the crust, yet there's springy crumbs attached to the top because you add wheat, you add grains. The zestiness of a blueberry muffin and the springiness and changiness of those blueberries and the springiness of that bread. A superior loaf is the type that springs back when you taste it. If I put my finger to touch the bread, I expect it to spring back. The texture of the top of the bread, the sound that you can make when you run the knife straight across the bread. The ripe, malty, and toasted wheat that you can taste when you consume a nice, warm, fresh piece of bread. It smells like cardboard almost, but yet I don't mind because it's amazing. And in my mouth, it's almost as if it's like a pillow that unfolds into my mouth each time I bite a piece of bread. When I was first choosing what deep dive I wanted to participate in, I never really expected myself to pick podcasts. But looking back at it, I'm really glad I did. I was able to learn something new and develop skills for something really fun and interesting. It wasn't always easy to feel this way though. For example, when we first started working on our recordings, I felt that there was always something missing from them. Like in person, I'm a lot louder and more energetic, but through my recordings, my personality and voice tend to sound a lot calmer and relaxed. To help bring both of these personalities together, I found that using sound effects helped out with projecting what I want to say. Once learning this, it made my experience a lot more fun and enjoyable. While they may just be background noises, using sound effects allow me to be creative and express my thoughts through my recordings. Whether it's talking about my love for the smell of coffee, the smell of coffee has to be one of the best. Specifically, the smell of it when you first walk into a coffee shop.
The way all the different smells of coffee just mix together in one setting makes me feel energized almost immediately. Or just talking about the sound of rain. The way it continuously taps on my window just creates a certain rhythm in my head that puts me to sleep. Using these effects add interest to the topic and overall just make it more fun to listen to.
When I was signing up for this internship, making podcasts was one of my last options that I've selected. At my school, my friend had a podcast club, and once he made me talk in his podcast, and I absolutely hated it. I did not like when I received an email that said I was going to be an intern for podcasts. However, I have been selected and I had to go with it. After a couple of Zoom meetings, I noticed that it wasn't that bad. I still hated recording my voice and telling the story, but what I loved was editing the podcast, adding sound effects, lowering the pitch, adding background noises, and more. We were introduced to a podcast making software called Soundtrack that I much love. I've learned video editing at my school. However, learning about audio editing was something more fun and enjoyable that I didn't know I could do. Thinking about the future can be something very tricky. You can never know where you're going to be in a year, what challenges you're going to face, and overall what your life would look like. You can have a slight visual of what you would be in the future, but you can never guess the obstacles that can stop you from getting to your dreams. Just imagine, one day you wake up next to a big machine, you look around and nothing's the same. There are flying cars, see-through smartphones, everything looks futuristic. And you start questioning of where you are and how you got there. You realize it's 10 years after, and you make sense of the big machine, and that is indeed a time machine. Now think about the situation. What would you do? Would you try to find yourself and see what your life looked like? Or would you travel back and forget that they've never happened? I personally will pick the second option because it is very scary to know how your life turned out, and it sometimes might be disappointing.
I dream of becoming a news anchor, or at least being some sort of on-screen personality. And to get there, I decided to fully commit. Asked me 4 months ago what I wanted to do in life, I probably would have just stared at you awkwardly until one of us was forced to change the subject. But in my steps towards that goal, I decided to take the internship with the Bear Group, specifically the podcast Storytelling Deep Dive with Molly Josephs. And to be honest, there was no doubt in my mind I wasn't going to get in, but it wasn't something I was expecting. I wasn't expecting the atmosphere to be so warm and accepting. We all got along. We were able to put our best foot forward and get the job done. For me, I was able to highlight and strengthen some skills in writing, editing, and communicating. And I was able to make some friends and some funny memories. Here's a segment I worked on titled Dream On.
I don't dream. Not in the sense that I don't have aspirations or dreams of becoming something in the future, but in the literal sense. I just don't dream. I just lay there in my bed thinking, the usual. What if Tom Holland knew who I was? What if I met Tom Holland? What would I even say? I wouldn't even be able to. Is that a spider? I'm too lazy to kill it or anything. Speaking of, what's for dinner? What time is it? What was I saying? Oh, right. Not dreaming. It's a bit of an odd situation because I don't normally dream. I just lay there and everything goes black, but my body will still dream according to various credible sources. My family. According to my family, I sometimes scream, laugh, have whole conversations. I sing, I move a lot, run, jump, etc., as if my body gets possessed by Vecna or something. That's scary. I do apologize to my future spouse, or if I go camping or something. But on the rare occasion that I do dream, and I'm conscious of the dream, it's always a reflection of what I was doing previous to sleeping. For example, if I was playing video games, specifically Spider-Man, because why would I ever play any other game? My dream would probably be me swinging through the concrete jungle we call New York, catching bad guys and saving the day, which isn't too far off. I eat, breathe, talk, and apparently dream Spider-Man, so there you go. But it also includes the people I'm with. So let's say I'm playing video games with my friend. Let's keep it anonymous. My friend's name is Bartholomew. Bartholomew would either be a main character, a side character, an extra, or a freaking prop for all I know. So the dream is, and action.
It's a beautiful day here in the city of New York.
A beautiful day for swinging, that is. Dang, I just love New York so much. We got hot dogs, traffic galore, cute little rats. Hey, is that Bartholomew? Hey, I didn't know he was a taxi driver. Hey, we got skyscrapers, Oscorp, giant lizards, aliens. What is there not to love, right? And end scene. So if I do dream, there will be some of the most vivid Emmy awarding dreams ever. I don't even have to be in the dream per se. Sometimes I'm not even the main character or in my dream at all. I know it's a bit bizarre, but believe me when I say I can feel what the character is feeling. I can see the vast details in the trees, the atmosphere, the setting. I can smell the various smells, whether I be in a sewer or Candyland. I can taste the wonderful or dreadful taste of my character eating something. And I'm able to hear all the crazy sounds a dream consists of. My dreams become certified fresh movies exclusive to only me and the people I tell. So you're welcome.
I just want to take a pause to make sure we're all here. I had so much fun putting this slideshow together because I love you all so much. I just want to say each and every one of these is so good. Like it's so unique to you. It's so like from Clarissa's Netflix sound to like, you know, the bread to Spider-Man. Like each time I'm so proud. So I just love y'all. June, you were going to say something. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no. And actually, she just left. So we're good. Keep going. I had
Okay.
messaged you. Yeah. So
Oh, sorry, I can't see my messages because I'm
Oh, because you're doing the screen share. So yeah, no. So we're good. Keep going.
Cool. Anyway, I'm very proud of y'all. I'm going back to this little. Yay.
Hi, I'm Zion Anderson, and when we were given the opportunity to choose a deep dive for the summer internship, podcasts and audio storytelling stood out the most to me. I believe this because I am usually shy, and I thought it would help me talk more, which it did. During the course of the internship, I have learned how to record and edit a podcast. Overall, it's been an amazing experience learning different things and techniques about making a podcast. I've explored this subject with awesome people, and hearing about their involvements in different topics we've talked about is very interesting. I enjoyed meeting new people and seeing similarities we have within each other. Something I have found that I don't really like is working with the script because I like to say what comes to my mind at the moment. An artifact for me would be the taste episode we made because I enjoy talking about my favorite comfort foods and adding special effects and background music. When I think of comfort foods, I think of chicken and waffles. When I was younger, I hated sweet and savory foods together. Until one day when my family and I were on vacation and we went to this diner. Chicken and waffles was the only appetizing thing to me since I'm a picky eater. I tried it and I loved it ever since. I love putting the crunchy chicken on the waffle mixed with the sweet maple syrup. And every time I go to town, I try to find a chicken and waffle spot to remind me of the best feeling in the world.
The expectation of knowing your own voice truly hit me in the face. Now, I'm not talking about your voice when editing the sound recordings we do. In the beginning, we started to talk to one another about the different topics everybody wanted to talk about on each episode. This was easy when it comes to just having a conversation where multiple people chime in to contribute to the conversation if they feel it connects to them or if they know or have experience with it. Yet, talking alone about a topic I pick, even when I have it written down, does not mean I know how to start recording. Should I try maybe affirmative? No. Don't be too rough. Maybe smooth and relaxed, but not too relaxed to bore people or make them fall asleep. Is my story good? Should I add more drama? Is it something I want others to know I made? Is the story worth telling? Will it inspire people? All these questions only to make a minute and a few seconds worth of a story. Being brave to listen back and edit and add music and sound effects and end up being proud of your work only to look around and see the imposter syndrome coming back to bombard you again with questions of your worth in your audio storytelling. Always knowing that in the end, there will always be a voice saying that what you are doing is not enough, but there will always be room for improvement. And there will always be time to learn and find your voice in storytelling. Why I hate the way school teaches books. Now, I have had amazing English teachers, but this many can relate to. Books are a way of entertainment that school has made a lot of people hate. As someone who likes to read, I have grown to hate that part of school. Now, why would someone be told, hey,
Hold on, I'm getting the other audio recording. It just keeps going to the end immediately. Erica, let me find it on my computer, and then I'll play it from my computer. One second. Sorry, guys. My Zoom situation is in the way. Hold on. Sorry, this is like my biggest nightmare manifested in my own anxious mind. Okay. Here we go. Erica, I might need you to text it to me if you can. If you can't, I have it on my computer, but I'm just having trouble opening things with Zoom in the way. Let me see if I can just grab it. Here we go. Let me see though if this will play. All right, Erica, we're gonna come back to yours, which I'm so excited to play. Would you mind just texting it to me or emailing to me, and I'll play it from there, and we'll come back to it. The video is beyond belief. I'm like gonna cherish that for every moment of my life. All right, coming right back. The audio is for some reason keeps skipping to the end, so maybe it like didn't export all the way. Anyway, send it to me again, and I will play it again before the end. Let me get back to sharing my screen. All right. This is Amber's audio clip. We were having some difficulties with her video. I'm having difficulty with my audio. Okay, let's try this again. I don't know if my computer is like overheating because of sharing this. If so, I'm gonna have to do it a little bit of a different way. We might have to just take a 5-minute break. Okay, let's see.
Something I learned within this deep dive is how to create a podcast to share my view on how I feel about topics and my input on them from being a teenager. Being a storyteller slash podcast creator was definitely different and something I've never expected to enjoy or even do. But to be quite honest, in this deep dive, I have found a passion for speaking, which is something I find very hard. I realized that being able to use my voice, even with something as small as an opinion or as big as a personal story, feels nice to express. I personally have never been one to use my voice to say how I feel or really about anything important. But even talking about my favorite comfort food feels good to express. Expressing myself is definitely hard and I hate to do it, and I hate feeling vulnerable, even talking about my favorite things. But within this group of people, it's been comfortable and easygoing since the people in my deep dive have made me feel like everything is valid. I used to think that I'm bad at speaking about one topic without going on to another, but I've learned that if I'm passionate and focused enough to stay on the topic, it's fairly easy.
Okay, let me just check one thing. Okay, hey, we're gonna do Haley's, and then we're gonna move to you, Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Haley, and I attend Warren High School. It's been such a privilege to be able to do this internship, and I've truly had so much fun along the way. I haven't regretted it once. I've never been one to talk much to others, and to be honest, I consider myself a very awkward person. So to even think that I'm the kind of person who now likes creating podcast episodes and making audio recordings of myself, it's a pretty crazy thought for my past self to swallow. Not only has it been fun to actually take the time to think about my own thoughts, it's been really fun to listen to what others have to say as well. I don't really think you're given much time, at least in this world, to think freely with your own thoughts, and teenagers especially aren't given that space. So in a way, this internship has given me the chance to kind of take the time and reflect more on my own thoughts as well. I know I'm getting a little deep here, but it's true. And even if we didn't talk about so many deep topics, it was just really fun listening to what others had to say, having these conversations, and seeing and listening to all the creative ideas people had. There's so many things I've learned in this internship, but I really wanted to share the most important things I discovered. To begin, I realized that I hate talking with a script for an episode. I can have it there as like a guideline or for some structure, but for the most part, I hate it because I feel like if I do end up using it, I end up sounding like an old English writer or a teacher who gives you a lecture and you have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Another thing I discovered I actually really like listening to podcasts. Before this, I kind of thought podcasts would drag and the podcasts were long, but now that I've listened to some of the episodes from this teenage life and some of the clips that the interns have made, I realized that I actually really love listening to podcasts. I really enjoy listening to the style of people's voices and the uniqueness of each person's voice and the way in which people edit their art. And finally, out of all the recordings I edited, I absolutely love the episode I made about comfort foods. That was the first episode I made, and it just kind of felt right, and everything fit very well together. When I received feedback, I got feedback saying that like my voice sounded very calm, and it was just really nice to hear. And I definitely know I need improvement when it comes to my audio editing skills, but I'm just really grateful to have had the opportunity to work with so many amazing people who have all these amazing thoughts, minds, and ideas. Honestly, I think comfort foods hold so much power just because they can bring you back to like a happy time in your life. Whenever I think of comfort foods, I kind of think of like the Ratatouille movie where like the food critic comes and he's eating like his favorite dish when he was younger that his mom used to make. When I imagine comfort foods, that's what I kind of imagine. That's like my first idea of a comfort food. But for me, probably like my go-to comfort food is buttered noodles. I know it sounds like so simple and so basic, but I feel like you can just never go wrong with butter noodles. The reason why I love butter noodles so much is because my grandma used to make them when I was younger. So it kind of takes me back to that time when she used to make them for me after school, and I would kind of sit in the living room with her and watch TV with her while eating the pasta, and I could just never get sick of it. I love seeing the butter like kind of melt on the pan, and I love seeing like the pasta kind of like boil away in the pot and seeing like the little bubbles arise. There's not like one part that I don't like. Another one of my like go-to comfort foods is probably chocolate chip cookies or any type of chocolate, basically like Nutella or just anything chocolate is probably like my favorite. Chocolate chip cookies specifically because they just like I love the type of chocolate chip cookies that kind of like melt away in your mouth and you're left with like that chocolate residue all over your hands. Like that's like my favorite type of cookie. Like if you're not getting your hands dirty, then what are you doing? Chocolate chips and chocolate chip cookies are like simply the best. And I've tried like so many different chocolate chip cookies, but I just always like the ones that kind of melt away in your mouth. I'm pretty sure I can call myself like a chocolate chip cookie connoisseur, but I shouldn't be too confident on that one.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and try to share Erica's again. Let's see how this goes. All right, hold on one second. I'm gonna play it. And I'm not gonna share my screen, I'm just gonna play it.
Why I hate the way school teaches books. Now, I have had amazing English teachers, but this many can relate to. Books are a way of entertainment that school has made a lot of people hate. As someone who likes to read, I have grown to hate that part of school. Now, why would someone be told, hey,
Erica. Okay. Do you want me to do your reading people one? Okay, great. 1 second. Here is the reading people one. Hold on 1 second, 1 second. Sorry.
every human being is
Okay. Here we go. It's the World Society of Pro School Books getting into my computer. I'm just kidding. Here we go.
I find that every human being is different from one another. Even twins are completely different, no matter how big or small of a detail they have in common. Everyone has a small gift that makes them unique. Some have singing abilities, some have dancing abilities, some have high IQs. What I have, amongst some talents, is the ability to read people. Now, you may see others that think, that is amazing, that is great. You can see other people's intentions towards others in you. But it wasn't always like that. Little by little, with each person I came across with, there were some that betrayed my trust. Reading people became a defensive mechanism that I learned to no longer do with a lot of effort. I meet someone in I read the person without knowing or wanting to read them. Yet, I have come across multiple people that I have chosen not to read because I trust them. And I don't know why. I haven't read the person, meaning I don't know them, and I don't know what they want from me. And yet,
Erica, we're having troubles, but it's so good. Maybe it's just a cliffhanger because you're meant to just share a million times again and again. That's just what it's supposed to be. All right.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Diaz, and my deep dive for the Bay Group was podcasting and podcast.
Hello, Jonathan. You're not coming up all over this. Okay, I'm going to share Jonathan's. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Diaz, and my deep dive for the Bay Group was podcasting, and podcasting was a fun experience. It's one of those things that I always wanted to try, and I'm glad I did for this internship. It was an amazing experience, especially to learn all the mechanics of podcasting and how really simple it is. It was an amazing experience, and I want to thank the Bay Group and also want to thank Molly Josephs. Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to play one of Jonathan's snippets, and this is the last one. Oh, was I not sharing my screen just now?
No, you were.
No, you were.
Am I still? No. Okay, thanks. All right, here's Jonathan's.
For my comfort food, I'll say it's popcorn because since a young age, I love going to the movie theaters and just chowing down some popcorn while watching a movie. I always love the popping sound of popcorn. Either if you hear the popping from the movie theaters or you're heating it up at home, the popping sound is just so satisfying. And the smell is even more amazing, especially movie theater butter popcorn. It just attracts you to it, and the smell is just amazing. And the chewing on popcorn is also amazing. Popcorn has this nice fluffy texture to it and this nice crispness to it as well. And you can either have it sweet or salty. Personally, I like it salty. And that's why popcorn is my go-to food. And if you're also like me, it's also my go-to food to binge watch shows.
Awesome. All right. We did it quickly, but we did it. Thank you guys so much. I wanted to say, like, working with all these people has been such a gift. I did not think it would be that easy to get to know y'all over Zoom, but I felt like we really created a vibe, and I'm actually definitely going to miss you. And yeah, I just had such a good time with you, and I adore you. So I'm excited to keep in touch and keep working on things together for eternity. And it's been a total pleasure. But I'm sure everyone has questions, or maybe June, you have questions. And we're happy to answer.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I do have questions. So first, congratulations on those snippets and what you shared in those videos. Awesome. So I just am curious because you applied for the internship knowing it was working from home. And I'm curious what you thought it would be like and what it turned out to be like for you. Some of you shared some of that, but I'm curious if you have anything you'd like to add. Anyone feel comfortable to share?
Yeah, I can share. Can you guys hear me? Dope. Yeah, I kind of talked about it. I wasn't expecting, because, you know, we've done years of online Zoom school. So it's honestly, that was one of the hardest things like to do school with. And I think I speak for everyone. And like, that was something that was super different. And I came in expecting the same thing. You know, I was expecting to, you know, go to the Zoom meeting, half asleep, eating like my breakfast at 2 or something, and honestly just dragging along the Zoom. But you know, I have to give props to Molly, regardless if she like, you know, is like, yeah, compliment me or not, like I have to, because she made the atmosphere just so warm and easy to come to, you know, like I wanted to, like, you know, put a hat on, you know, at least put a good face on. I wanted to come to Zoom. I wanted to work on the podcast, and, you know, she did a good job at that. And the people on the actual Zoom, you know, getting to know everyone from the
deep dive and whatnot, and talking about our topics, learning how to edit, do all these crazy things was really a pleasure, and I appreciate it dearly. So hopefully that answers your question.
Definitely. Thanks, Anthony. Anyone else?
I will say, I think it's easier for us to do Zoom, especially for this type of like the podcast, but especially because when we're doing our individual audios, we are, for example, I'm in my bedroom, I'm in my comfort zone, sometimes talking about things that we may not feel comfortable about, like in a, I don't know, in a meeting room, may not be the best scenario for a lot of people, because when you're talking about, for example, my reading people story, I talk about how I was stepped over multiple times. My trust was, everything just out the window, all my feelings, all my heart, and like just want to cry moments. I can do them alone and I can do them here. And it's not something like I want pity from people. It's just, I just need to take it out of my system and say it. And at the end, we end up with like editing, and then everything that was bad can just go away. And we can just give you the right pieces of the story so you can know the whole story, but in the better version, because we know sometimes it can be a little crappy. So when we talk in groups and we're in our comfort zones, I feel it's much better. Sometimes talking, but with our camera off, can sometimes be better too, because looking at you right now, for example, I'm looking at myself talking, I'm like, I'm self-conscious about this. But when we have our cameras off, we can just like be looking around, seeing and imagining our moments when we're talking about specific times. And no one is like, are they even looking? Are they paying attention? There's no need for that. It's just us in our comfort zones and in the best time that we can be, and everyone just being themselves in their own comfort zone.
Thank you so much, Erica. It's sometimes why I like the telephone, for those very reasons. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, and I love that telephone. No, thank you for sharing. And we're so fortunate because Molly's not based in California. So it would have been very challenging to have her lead the deep dive because of geography. So that's one of the benefits of the virtual. And I just wanted to thank you all for taking the leap of faith. We do know that when it was time for you to apply, there was a lot of Zoom fatigue. It's real and we get it. So thank you for sticking with it and sticking with the internship. I'm also curious if you'd like to share a takeaway you have from the internship, whether it's the deep dive or some of the other experiences you had during the internship that you feel like you will carry forth in your life. If anything.
I could go. I guess one thing I would take away is that it's important to kind of like step outside of your comfort zone, because definitely coming here, I was like, the podcast wasn't my first choice, but then I kind of had like a good feeling about it. I was like, I should just try it out and see how it goes. So even though I'm not like usually one to share much in groups, it was fun to just kind of get out there and listen to what others had to say, but just being able to push myself and be like, okay, let's just try this. And after like doing it for a couple of weeks, it was actually really nice. And even though this is like, it's an internship, it felt like work, but at the same time it didn't, because I was actually doing what I wanted to do. And I felt like, okay, I want to get to the computer and start editing. And I was doing something that I loved. So it just felt really, really great.
Thanks, Haley. Is it Haley or Hallie? Am I pronouncing it correctly, your name?
Yeah, you're good. It's Haley.
Haley. Thanks, Haley. Anyone else have something to add?
I think I just would like to say that thank you to Molly for just being really nice to everybody and just being like a friend, because it's hard to try to talk to a superior, like lead type of person when you're trying to just be comfortable talking about controversial topics or your favorite things. It's hard to just talk to someone and like be super comfortable without like having something in common. So for example, she started telling us about her story whenever we were doing the interview. She started talking to us and it felt more of, I want you to get to know me, and this is who I am, and this is who you're going to be working with if you're going to be doing the podcast and audio storytelling. And I was like, she's so nice. I so want to work with her. I so want to be in this. I didn't even care specifically of me doing my stories. I wanted to listen to her talk and her being comfortable in her own self. I was like, I want to be able to do that when I'm doing my storytelling. So it felt like her being the superior role of like, that's what I want to do. That's who I want to be. So it started even from the beginning, before I was even accepted into specifically the podcast. It was her in the interview. She's amazing. That's I think something that most of us felt, I think.
Thanks, Erica.
Anthony, were you going to? I saw you raise your hand. Are you ready to share? Oh, nope.
I mean, I can. I was just I was making gestures because I agree with Erica in the sense with Molly and whatnot, but because it's it gets kind of tiring to constantly have to, put on your professional face. Because for me, I personally meet a lot of people. Funny enough, I know I'm going to go on a little rant here, but I felt I should share, which is a pretty funny story of how we met you, Junbei. Erica and I went to go pick up. I hope it's okay. I can share the story. This is pretty funny. Okay. So Erica and I, we went to go pick up our notebooks at the beginning of the internship. And we went, we were trying to be professional, put our best foot forward, our good impression. We were so excited. And we got dropped off. We got our notebooks. We saw Junbei. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. We turn around and our ride was gone, just completely gone. We were like, I was like, hey, Erica, are they coming to pick us up or what's going on? And she was like, oh yeah, I think he left. I was like, I don't know. You said that very nonchalant. Are we getting home? What's going on? So we ended up awkwardly walking back and like, hey, Junbei, funniest thing, our ride just drove away. And she was like, oh, that sucks. Don't worry. Come inside. We'll give you food. We ended up eating portos. We like grabbed water. She offered us food. We were like filling our stomachs. We were on our way. We were like, okay, we're going to have to take the bus. We'll see you later. Right when we stepped out of the building, we were like, oh, the car's back. So we got in the car and we left. It was a very awkward, funny experience. We ended up taking a picture with Junbei's phone. We had to call people from some of the deep dive leaders' phones. It was a mess. And we were twinning, funny enough, like we had blue pants and a yellow shirt. The whole thing was funny. It was an interesting experience, but that was our first impression, to Ju and Bea and to the Bea group. So funny enough.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you reminded me of that. That was, yes, it was our attempt at doing something where we could meet interns, and yes, so I'm so happy to hear about your showcase and what happened and your projects, and I look forward for us to stay connected. It's those moments, right, when these things happen. So I'm glad you had some portos. We love our portos from Downey. It's awesome. I don't have any other questions. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm going to check on those of you watching on YouTube. If there's any questions you want to pop into chat, please. We're happy to ask the interns or Molly, anyone with us in Zoom, if there's any questions. see. This was our first time doing podcasts as a deep dive. I'm curious for you, Molly. What did you think when you signed up with us, and how was it for you doing your first deep dive?
It was wonderful, and I learned so much because people had such good ideas that involved kind of like non-linear storytelling. So I really enjoyed people bringing their own creative voice to, like, the senses thing that we ended up coming up with was so fun and interesting, and kind of took a more like montage approach that felt more ethereal than more narrative storytelling. So I appreciated doing both, and I don't think I would have ever thought of that myself. And I think just the voices of the people here, the atmosphere they created, they're saying really nice things about me, but it's a very mutual, it's a co-constructed process. Like I think that we had a good vibe, and I'm really lucky that all these people were in this group because they were awesome. So yeah, it was great. And I got introduced to some new tool sets, and it was nice to remember, like, at one point I had some ideas that totally flopped, and that was good to remember. There's always so much learning that goes on when you're doing something like this. So I think finding a new tool set that worked better online for collaborative editing and editing kind of individually in a web-based way, given that people are in different types of computers, thinking in terms of snippets and iteration, and instead of in terms of entire episodes. All these things were beautiful things to play with, and I really enjoyed it. Oh, I think you're muted, June.
Do you have anything for the interns? Do you have anything you'd like to add before we say goodbye for this showcase?
The one thing I feel bad about is I feel a little bad that I didn't get to play the end of Erica's, so I might just email Erica's reading people to all the people at Bay Group so that you can listen to it fully in all of its glory. We got like 10 seconds from the end, but I can try to do it one more time, but I have a feeling there's something that's compressed with the audio file, but I can try it.
I also have it here, so if there's anything that, I don't know.
Do you want to just play it from there, from the place where we left off?
Yeah, I can do that.
Please do. We'd love to hear it.
I don't know if it's the right spot right now, so I'm just gonna go for it.
It's fine. Go for it.
I meet someone there we go. I read the person without knowing or wanting to read them. Yet, I have come across multiple people that I have chosen not to read because I trust them. And I don't know why. I haven't read the person, meaning I don't know them, and I don't know what they want from me. And yet,
Still didn't work. Basically, it's just me saying, and yet I still trust them, knowing very well that there has been people I trusted, but it hasn't turned out well. So it's kind of like why are you doing this? It's not gonna work out at the end because it hasn't worked out in the end before. That's basically in the end, but it didn't work.
Well, thanks for trying. And yes, Molly, if we could get your version of it, we'd love to hear it. So thank you.
Also, don't feel bad, Erica. This has happened to me 17 times. So you did perfectly.
Exactly. That's part of content creation. Is the wrinkles that happen, right? So thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Molly. Thank you to our co-designer Megan, who supported the deep dive. And I'm going to turn off the recording right now, the live stream, and please do stay in the Zoom room, everyone here. So thanks everyone watching on YouTube. I'm going to make a plug that we have one more showcase today. It's music production at 4 o'clock. So please come back to the YouTube channel and join us for music production. Tomorrow we have a full day of showcases. We have 4 more tomorrow. We start bright and early at 8 a.m. Pacific time with Learn by Doing astrophotography. And then we have regenerative product design at 10 a.m. Pacific. 1 p.m. is documentary filmmaking. And 4 p.m. is CRISPR tomorrow. So please come back to YouTube. Please subscribe if you haven't, because our interns have amazing showcases to share. So please join us. Thank you for this group, the podcast and audio storytelling. And I'm going to turn off now, and we'll be back.